more chilly, I think, than the blood that runs through your zombie veins. Now, as you know, you are my esteemed constituents and contributors from across this whole great nation. Zombie corporations, do we have any of those? Blood-sucking banks. Assorted servants of the affluent undead. Thank you for taking the time off your busy schedules, stumbling into your limousines, yachts, and private jets, and joining us here at the University of Michigan. Quiet the moaning in the back there. You, my friends, are the top 1%, and we're gathered here this Halloween for a truly momentous occasion, the burial of the American middle class. Thank you. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should celebrate the demise of the middle class here in Michigan, the state which did so much to give it birth. I come to bury the middle class, not to praise it. My remarks today will be brief. I know that many of you have come here a long way with aching limbs, if indeed they are still attached, and stomachs hungry to feed on the carcass before us. But before you enjoy your just desserts, let's review the life of the deceased. Now, a little more than a century ago, you enjoyed what today is so uncharitably called the Gilded Age. A time when the rule of the 1% went unquestioned. So unquestioned, we didn't even need to tell people that social classes didn't exist. Back then, a distinguished political scientist at a great university much like this one could publish a book called What Social Classes Owe to Each Other and answer, what do social classes owe to each other? That's right! Absolutely nothing! Consider the titles of that book's chapters. My friends, I'm not making this up. He who would be well taken care of must take care of himself. It is not wicked to be rich. Glad we could dispense with that whole camel through the eye of a needle business. On the value as a sociological principle of the rule to mind one's own business. And finally, this is my favorite, I'm sure it'll be yours. Poverty is the best policy. Times were that good for us. As you know, though, it didn't last. A dark cloud settled across the face of this country. A dark cloud of growing equality. I know. First, the mob came after your monopolies. They had the insolence to pass a federal income tax. They even insisted that U.S. senators should be elected by them instead of chosen by us. The little people were beginning to form a middle class. For a while, you managed to bounce back. You stopped the labor movement in its tracks and chose some of the finest presidents our nation has known. Glorious names like Harding, Coolidge, Hoover. Presidents with the good sense to leave you and your money alone. By 1929, the top 1% had 44% of the country's wealth. Yes! Not enough, we want it all. I know. Try again this time. But then, after the roaring 20s came that darn depression. From its depths, the New Deal built a middle class stronger and more powerful than we could have possibly imagined. I shudder to recount the humiliations you endured in those terrible New Deal and Great Society years. A unionized workforce, Social Security, Medicare and Medicaid, a minimum wage, the list goes on. A decent corporation could barely get by on the scraps of the military-industrial complex. class got up to all sorts of other mischief. Civil rights, women's equality, ending the war in Vietnam, environmental protection. As if people and not profit margins were what counted in this society. Were you going to stand for this? Were you going to sit idly by, smoking the last of your cigar collection, as the middle class snatched away your hard-won champagne and caviar? I should think not. And I'm very glad to say you didn't. The decades of hard work you endured in order to do in the middle class have paid off. We love Reagan. You secured tax cuts for the rich, assuring the middle class the benefits would trickle down.
We call it rain.
I think I see some trickling out there, but I think it's coming out of your mouth. You shipped jobs out of the country, saying that was just what the invisible hand of the market demanded. Can I see some invisible hands? Spooky! You got the Supreme Court to declare that while corporations may not have souls, for legal purposes, they are people too. And you poured more and more money towards politicians of both parties. If there's any out there, could I get some of that? Could I get some of that? Redeemable for brains. Redeemable for brains.
Be right you check.
Let me assure you, I've worked tirelessly on your behalf since my election in 2001. I have a personal stake in this matter, not through the heart. For me, the real estate industry is my family business. My wife works for the country's biggest privately owned bank. And my personal passion has paid off for you. I voted to bail out the banks while letting the automakers die. I voted against regulating the subprime mortgage industry. I voted against action to stop climate change.
That's the man!
Against enforcing anti-discrimination protections. I helped lead the effort to repeal health care for all. And when tornadoes swept through Missouri, wiping out whole towns, I insisted that no aid should go to those people unless we made corresponding cuts elsewhere. But this isn't just about me. I'm especially proud of my political action campaign. My political action committee is supporting like-minded officials across the country. I've called this political action committee, I've given it the modest name, Every Republican is Crucial. Can anyone tell me what that spells? Very morning, the Capitol Hill newspaper roll column said that my ties with Wall Street were turning into a, quote, political gold mine. I've raised $6.5 million already this year. And with this political gold mine, every time we dig that mine deeper, we're also digging the grave of the middle class. Now, there are some folks out there who are trying to pit Americans against Americans. But that's class warfare. And I'm very pleased to announce to you today that there is no class war in America. My friends, the war is over. You've won! So now, if you'll allow me, I'm going to hammer a ceremonial nail, the last nail in the coffin of the middle class. Give me an R! Give me an I! Give me a C! E-R-I-C! The middle class is dead to me!
E-R-I-C, the middle class is dead to me. 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 E-R-I-C, the middle class is dead to me.
All right, everyone, let us pray.